Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Capricorn. If Capricorn is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. Okay, knock, knock, knock. Let's see. What do these tea leaves have for us tonight, Capricorn? So I am a Capricorn ascendant, and so these readings sometimes really do resonate with me as well. Okay. All right. So let's see. First, I want to look at the card. We have the Emperor, and this is from the Thoth deck, and usually very much related to power, leadership, kind of being very resolute in your decision making, pretty solid in your beliefs, but not so much that you're dogmatic, right? These are beliefs that usually benefit your overall kind of goals in life, your aspirations, and your, I would say, this card has kind of the air of making the tough decisions where it might be too hard for somebody else to make a clear and concise, difficult kind of call. The Emperor is ready to do that. Okay. So no messing around. Okay, let's see. What do we have here in the cup? I want to start with, we have, let's see. Just, it's so interesting. We have this, it looks like a kind of a lizard, maybe like an iguana, curled up with a leg kind of sticking out, the head here. And in this kind of spiraling, kind of keeping warmth, there is a sense of selfhood, of taking care of self, of turning inward instead of outward, really listening to those kind of deep instinctual rumblings. I think also, I think of the lizard or a snake, in the actual sense, going out to the road or a nice rock in the sun and taking in all of that heat, because we know they're cold-blooded, so they need a lot of heat to kind of get them going and activated. And so for me, this really is kind of related to the sun worship, or the idea of that kind of cosmic fire, that cosmic and creative energy, seeking that connection to the God source, the divine source, the creative source, flow of the universe. And I feel like this has become very important to you in your life, wherever you are, whatever age you are, whatever kind of cycle you are in. You are very much moved by this kind of, and what I think of is kind of the, the ecstasy of the divine. And you can see this in statues, like the statues of the Saint Teresa, this kind of profound agape, this love and unification with that kind of divine consciousness. And having quite literally, a celestial spouse in some cases. Very interesting. And I think that in different ways, we all kind of yearn for these kinds of connections, no matter what your stance is, what kind of pantheon or deity or, none, whatever it is that moves you, there's kind of always in some way, this yearning for a connection to that ultimate mystery, right? And so I want to look some more here. I feel that, and we have this sword right in the middle. It almost kind of looks like a ring pop to me. It also looks rather phallic, but I see a sword, I think, cutting through kind of some of the pretense of things, especially when, you might be a person who is configured towards, the spiritual, religious, these kind of otherly, extraordinary, divine experiences. There can be a lot of, murkiness, right? Being led astray to some degree, right? And especially it can get tricky when we find ourselves kind of really hitching our wagon to a belief system or, any kind of dogma, really. But, and I'm not, listen, I'm not speaking down on any of these things. I think that finding our religion is beautiful. Finding the path and techniques and the language, the mythology, imagery, all of these things. So beautiful when we start to align with something. But I also think that there are plenty of us who at points, and it's not forever always, but at points we kind of become dislodged from seeking guidance from other humans, other people, through, writings and tenets and rules and regulations and, all of these things. The jargon just doesn't stick anymore, at least not right now. And this sometimes can feel a little bewildering. This is kind of that idea of going out into the wilderness, right? This spiritual wilderness. This is when people can become a little iffy with their faith. The dark night of the soul, right? When we become adrift, maybe a little bit nihilistic, looking for reasons to not believe in things, pain, but I believe, anyways, my belief, whatever that means to anybody, whatever it means to whatever, it does, just my 2 cents. I think it's important that we go through some of these phases, not to the point of destruction, Okay, because it can become very destabilizing for some people. But I think it's important not to be so stuck in one frame of mind, one singular path. Okay, I think it's important to explore. But we keep ourselves protected as well, right? Reasonable, rational. Try a little bit. But also have open hearts, right? Be willing to kind of swim in the unknown. Our imaginations must be, you know, creative and willing to fill in some gaps, of course. But and I see this person kind of going over this little turtle here, right? This turtle who carries the world on their back. And this person kind of hopping over that world turtle. Another interesting mythology. Origin story. I think cosmology, maybe? Is that the right word? A mythology of an origin. So, what does this mean? I feel that you're untethered from any kind of previous system that you've had. Now, have you picked up things? Do you retain bits and pieces? Yes, of course, of course, of course. What are we if we are not basically composite beings, right? So, I think it's important that we remember we are hunter-gatherers. We are foragers. Nothing wrong with cherry picking our beliefs. Okay? So, here's my 2 cents again. Read widely. You know, experience widely. Love often. Know people. Go places. You know, go to sacred things. Go and do some of those retreats if you can. Create rituals for yourself. Feasts. You know, do some of that reconstructionalism that people do. Try things. Just try things. And find what works for you. Or learn so much about things that you just put it away. Kind of more of a Taoist, you know. Master it and then set it free. Set it on fire. Whatever you need to do. Let it go. Forget about it. But then you create your own. And I think that this is where you're at. You are that emperor. You are a master of your own fortune, a master of your own future, of your own life, your own kingdom, interior, exterior. And so I think that you're just really so much in this powerful place. It is so developed by your trust in your own intuition, with the time and energy that you put into your interior landscapes. The fortification and refining of self and the many selves. And I feel that, you know, you are being led by yourself in many directions, in all directions, closer to that divine ecstasy that you seek. That agape. Okay? And that's very apparent. It's very potent. All right. Now, I see a person here. Okay? Feet, their little body and head, their hand. It looks like they're painting something, possibly. That's what I think. a canvas, some kind of beautiful artwork. So I think through this, it's important that you are creating, that you are taking advantage. Okay, and I am sorry we had a bit of what we call in our house a catastrophe. Anytime I shut this door to where I do my tea leaf readings, the cat just has a fit. So anyways, I was talking about making use of this period of just real being in your kind of power space. I think there is a real sense of the leadership, but self-leadership. I think that this part of yourself at the core of your being that is just really leading with the intuition, but also this kind of heart on fire, this feeling of, you know, seeking the divine, the divinity, the beloved, these deep and intense yearnings for more than what the material world can provide. It's important to put these feelings, this stuff, into something. And so it is a wonderful time to be creating. It doesn't matter what the medium is. It doesn't matter if it is artwork or, you know, you're building apps or coding or whatever. I mean, you know, it could be anything. But putting this profound inspiration into your work, you will never go wrong with that, right? So let's see what else we have. This one, I thought this one was really interesting. It looks like a little cat, and then it kind of looks like there's a little hand kind of reaching out to pet it, and its head is kind of going backwards like it doesn't want to be touched. So I really feel that you are kind of in the space of just really riding for yourself right now. Just kind of in your own lane, doing your own thing, really focused on your, you know, your interests, your inspiration. I just see that you kind of are a little bit maybe in a mode of, you know, being like the hermit a bit, but not in the sense of being melancholy. There's not like isolation and, you know, being super asocial or anything like that. But I think you're just kind of so busy, so focused. You're not really paying attention to what's going on with other people. You are not motivated to do so. And that's fine. You know, I think that that is okay. I don't feel like there's anything that is troublesome with that. Okay. Okay, and so I kind of see these interesting, they look like little monkeys or lemurs, the long tails, and just kind of, I get a feeling of just kind of hanging around and not necessarily super leisurely, but there is like a real strong movement towards contemplation, a little bit of indulgence, right? But I think that this is all kind of manifesting this real intense feelings of you know, divine love. And I mean, again, I bring up the statue of Saint Teresa in ecstasy. There are other paintings that are interesting of Magdalena or Mary Magdalene in similar postures. But if you look up any of the saints and then in the ecstasy pose, in that motif, there is kind of this, it seems almost overcome, unable to stand, just really in a real intensely, you know, you would lean towards saying, oh, this seems very like sexual, but it's not necessarily that. It is kind of, you know, being flooded with dopamine, endorphins, but through a relationship with this God source, or, you know, universal consciousness, a direct line to it. And so it kind of, I feel these little cute creatures. I think of kind of, you know, laying in the trees, kind of, you know, just ushering in this place of being open and receptive to inspiration. Okay. And I also see a little heart here, and okay, TT, a little heart here, and it makes me think that you know, there's just a lot of self-fulfillment happening, and, you know, manifesting this agape. Okay, now let's take a look over here. Excuse me, with this cat. Okay, so we have 3 and 3, and it reminds me of kind of this, of a cup, and really the thinking that comes to mind is just, you know, to keep your cup full, of course, but not so full that it runs over, but, you know, not to be so not to be so scarce that it, you know, dries up. Okay, so somewhere in the middle, tempering self, balance. I'm talking about this constantly in the reading. So, you know, it's kind of all this finding the middle way, your own personal middle way. Now, I think that's the kind of towards the end of the reading. I do want to mention that something came up for me as I was preparing this reading, and that is that there's the thought that it seems that a loved one is really missing you. And I think that this may be a person who is still alive, okay, and maybe not somebody who's passed that is, you know, missing you. But I think that this week would be a wonderful time to maybe write them a letter, okay? Get a hold of them, kind of check in, and you know, just spend some time letting them know that, and here go my cats arguing. Spend some time letting them know that you are also thinking of them, that, you know, life may be very busy and it's hard to keep in touch with everybody, but you do love and care and think of them. So, yeah. All right. I want to thank you for the time that you spend with me. You are so generous in that regard. And I just don't even want to do the whole thing. If you would be so kind as to like the video, I would appreciate that. It's helping us get into the algorithm. If you haven't subscribed, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos come out. And if you want to leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Okay, Capricorn. I thank you. And we will talk again very soon.